Marguerite Maida is quite the mysterious character. Although she appeared in Below Zero, we still don't know much about her, only seeing snippets of her past and what happened to her over the events of Subnautica through databases and tablets. She is presented as outgoing and quite bossy at times. She doesn't like to listen to Paul Torgal and likes to do things her own way. She is presented as the strong type, always going out and hunting fish and hunting Leviathan. And even when the family did not want to go deeper, she insisted that they go deeper and find out what shot them down. This could also present her as quite a manipulative character. So I thought it'd be an interesting video idea to do it on, just to learn more about Marguerite Maida and what we know about her, since maybe you guys would like to know, and well, she's just an interesting character overall. So I'm going to be covering all the databases that we could find in-game, and maybe some other stuff that weren't mentioned. Also, this video contains spoilers to Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, so if you want to know that, you can leave now. Thank you. So, from what we know from the devs themselves, they say that not much is known about Marguerite. She was born and raised in the Mongolian states, a backwater corporate colony exploited for its mineral resources. She left home at 16 and went from one mercenary job to another. Eventually, she did tours with the Mongolian Defense Force and Trans-System Federation. She held an esteemed career before being dishonorably discharged from the TSF for going off mission. Her last mission was aboard the Degassi as private security against the potential pirates and scavengers, which crashed on 4546B due to the gun. After this, they created multiple bases that can be found in the original game, with multiple PDA entries where we find out more about them, which I'll show you right now.
This island is a godsend. Look out of the window. No predators, fresh food.
No building materials, nothing left of the ship. And your kid says we're gonna starve without more grow beds. Speak up, kid.
It's true, Father. The natural growth rates are too slow to keep supporting us.
All I'm saying is ocean's got us surrounded. No use hiding. Sooner or later, we'll get our feet wet.
The rest of your life may have been a fight, Maida, but I've made my decision. You want to forfeit your emergency pay to take a swim? Go ahead.
Believe me, I'm thinking on it.
So if you're paying attention to the lore, you would know that this happened shortly after the crash, and they managed to make it to the floating island and salvaged whatever they could from the ship itself. They built a base on the floating island, which you are able to see and gain some other resources from, including the deeper base down 200 meters.
200 meters below sea level. You want to go deeper?
Look around us, Chief. Water leaking through the hull, water outside the hatch. We're drowning real slow. If rescue arrives, whatever shot us down, it's gonna do it again and again until it's shut off. You see an off switch around here, Chief?
Why would it any more likely be half a kilometer down?
Your kid found something on the scanner. There's something down there. Something that shouldn't be.
You're mad.
I'm going all the same, and I have an idea you two are gonna follow. But if you do, be mindful. Your authority stopped at sea level.
Now I cut this out due to the video being too long, but if you go down to that base, you find out another location for a base down 500 meters, down in a deep Grand Reef, which would be their last base, as which where their eventual demise starts.
I have had it with you, risking our lives.
Oh, stow it, Chief. The kid can't kill this disease without fish to study. I'm just bringing him home.
What? Tell her. Tell her I'm right.
You're both wrong. Marguerite, I can't find out how they resist the bacteria if you slaughter them all.
It ain't always they oblige in coming in alive.
He means you're being reckless.
Father, the outcome's no better if we hole up in here and don't go outside. That we have to find a middle way.
There is no compromise. Not while she's on my sea base.
Your sea base?
I'm going outside.
Bart, Torgal has disembarked the habitat.
Bart, come in. It's dangerous. Damn it, boy. I know you can hear me.
Chief, get off the radio and put on your helmet.
What?
Brace!
From another PDA entry, we find out, here we see how Marguerite Maida managed to bring a Reaper Leviathan down to their base, the one in the Deep Grand Reef, for Bart Torgal to study so he could study the disease that was inside of it, later known as the Corabacterium. But it wasn't truly dead, and they ended up breaking the base. That Marguerite Maida was last seen hanging onto the beast's neck while it swam away into the darkness. Take a listen.
Maida appeared out of nowhere. She had a sea glide in one hand, a jagged piece of scrap metal in the other. She meant to butcher that beast or die trying. The last I saw her, she had the metal lodged in its neck as the monster did its best to shake her, contorting off into the darkness.
Now this is where everyone thought that it was the end for the Degassi, where Bart Torgal died of the infection, Paul died of oxygen depletion, and Marguerite Maida was eventually killed by the Reaper. Or so we thought, until Below Zero came out, where we find out that she's actually alive. Here, take a listen.
Stop right there, Altera. You're out of bounds.
I'm not with Altera.
Then your position is doubly precarious.
What do you mean?
If you're telling the truth, you're out of your mind. If you're lying, there'll be hell to pay.
Wait! Who are you?
Stay off my land.
And after this cutscene, the PDA will give us a location which leads to Marge's base. Well, we will have another talk with her in a cutscene and she will send us on a mission. But less on that and more of her past. So once you do that mission, you'll be able to find more PDA entries of what happened during her time on the Reaper Leviathan. And we find out how she survived and how she made it to the Arctic Circle. Take a listen.
There I was, 500 meters below sea level. Chunks of the sea base sank around me. One hand gripped the monster's scales. The other was clamped around the shard of metal I'd lodged into her eye socket. A Reaper. Wounded, maybe, but still deadly. I'd already taken out one eye. I'd damn near carved out the other. We were headed for the void at the crater's edge. Blinded, she was spiraling deeper. I had a choice. Hold on, or let go. I clung for dear life as she took us deeper. I had 1 minute of air in the tank. Back then, I could go another 3 with what I had in my lungs. So I had 4 minutes to kill the Reaper, minus a few to get back to the surface. It ain't that I like killing folk. It's just sometimes what you need is on the inside of someone else's ribcage. I killed that beautiful, terrifying creature, and I made for the surface. When I caught my breath, I realized we'd come further than I'd thought. I was surrounded by watery void, just me and ocean. Nothing else. That far out to sea, swimming back for land wasn't an option. I'd die from exhaustion long before I made it to shore. All I could do was survive long enough to wash up somewhere. I felt a suction, and suddenly, there were vast jaws rising out of the water towards me. It had taken hours for the Reaper's corpse to float to the surface. Using the knife, I clambered up her flank and got a perch on top. I figured she'd float for a few days at least, enough for me to catch my breath. But would she sink before or after I died of thirst? I had a knife, a repair tool, and 3 liters of water. At least I wasn't gonna die of exhaustion. Now, those Reapers, they're practically all muscle, but there's some fat in there. I was able to keep warm and drink the water. And I didn't have much, but I had that repair tool, so I had a spark. It took a week to light that first fire. And I know more about the burning properties of Reaper fat than I ever cared to. I had to ration fires, but as they burned, I could smoke meat that I carved out of the beast's rib cage. A fortnight into our voyage, I was more or less living inside the creature's rib cage. It meant shelter, and it meant food. The flesh was starting to rot. The stench was unlike anything I'd ever smelled. As we floated, the temperature dropped, and the rotten meat began to stiffen and freeze. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the Reaper began to lose buoyancy. We sank a little each day. My sanctuary was becoming my tomb, and I was at the mercy of the current and the winds. Until one day, I saw a smattering of penguins in the distance. Swimming birds usually mean solid land of some kind. I was lucky. The winds followed their path. Hours later, I saw a blessed sight. An unmoving cloud sitting upon the water. Land. It renewed my spirit as I watched the land get closer and closer. The Reaper slowly sank, but I was no longer worried. When the Reaper finally sank below the water, I was close enough to lazily swim my way to shore. I made a note to come back for the Reaper's skull. I didn't ride the beast for 3 weeks to have no proof. Land never felt so good, even in this Arctic hell.
And that's how she ended up here. And from this we find out that she's one of the most badass characters in Subnautica's history. She could be classed as a Leviathan herself for taking down that much stuff. She is a threat not to be reckoned with. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thought I might do something different. Subnautica Below Zero video coming out soon, like I promoted it. But hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you guys later. Bye!